So the next question I had was I looked at your Twitter profile and you shared that you basically had a stock which became a 500 bagger, right? Uh,
Yes.
right. So I want to know, because it's like fancy, even like not many people get 100 bagger in their lifetime, and you like have something. So even though it's like something that on your personal front, but essentially something that you can talk about, and how did it happen? And I don't want you to name the stock, just that what was, so because in the overall process there would have been like many ups and downs. It's not like it would have just gone up. So what made you give the conviction to hold on, and how did it happen?
So luckily, the thing is, my entry point was when markets were really bad in that sense. So it was a very, I mean, nano cap when I entered, and probably it didn't correct much from when I bought. Of course, from my buy price. So I bought this stock in 2004, and then we had a great run till 2008, and then corrections and all. But that stock never, basically almost never touched the value at which I had bought it. So that was one thing which kind of really helped.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the years, I saw the company kept on growing, and I just somehow, latched onto it.
Mm-hmm.
There were some concerns regarding
Mm-hmm. Corporate.
some some diversification, but
Mm-hmm.
I kind of still took it in my stride and
Mm-hmm.
understood why it was done, and just held on to the stock. I think a lot of people sold at that point in time, but
Mm-hmm.
I kind of held on, and I think the greatest gains came after that event actually.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll tell you the journey in that sense that for the first many years, I think for the first decade, it didn't give as great returns what it has given post that. Just a normal performer kind of. But then I think in since 2014-15 or something is when the expansion took place, and the stock is. I mean, I've had a big right. I mean, this stock was uh, was 200 rupees, around 200 rupees in the COVID lows, and then uh, post that it went up to 5,200, and again now it is at 3,600, 3,700. I don't even know what price it closed at. But the thing is, the journey has been, when you got a winner, you just sit tight, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what. As long as the company is performing,
Right.
growing, there will be phases where growth might be slow, or there could be some near-term challenges and all that. But if you have the faith in the management, and if the valuations are absolutely not bonkers, uh,
Mm-hmm.
still hold on. So this stock, as I said, I mean, I tweeted some time back, this is my 250x, and then it went to
Yeah, it doubled
650x,
it.
and
Yeah.
subsequently it might be now 450x. So this x
Right.
is actually kind of, change so drastically.
Mm.
Uh, but I'm still holding, obviously, and as long as I'm comfortable holding at the valuations it has, and I see growth in the company, I intend to hold on.
So I think one question, subsequent question I had related to this was, a lot of investors, basically there are, so in any investing, if you hold the stock for so long, right, during the journey, there are phases where essentially you know that, okay, over the next 2 3 years, it won't go anywhere, right? Uh, and there is an opportunity cost associated, and people try to like jump the gun from here to there, and okay, this looks better. So like how do you end that, basically don't how did you not have that temptation of like basically deploying
So
your money
again,
into something else? Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So again, I luckily I've been able to hold all my initial quantity uh, at different points in time. Even if I have sold some of that, maybe 20% of that or something, I have covered it and more during these phases. So yes, there have been some obviously some action in the stock. I've sold some. I bought. This thing. I think last time, I sold something at around 750 or something, and I got back again at around 225 to 250. So all these things have happened, but my quantity has only increased over a period in time from my initial buy. So in that sense, yes, I've had, I mean, my cost is obviously negative, uh, but yes, I have, and it's a fairly large portion in my portfolio. Um, Still, I mean, not to the extent that it will be around 20% of my portfolio currently. It has grown to that. See, again, I just want to tell about this, that, with the same stock, there could be different outcomes for different people.
Right.
Imagine somebody who would have bought at 50 to 100,
Right.
which was the recent high, something. For them, the outcome right now at 3600, it will look completely different than the outcome for, somebody who's invested from earlier rounds. So same stock, different outcomes. It's a fact of life. Uh, so when you get in, and is important, and if you have the conviction, then even if you got in at the wrong time, you can always, if you understand the story, and if market gives you an opportunity to buy at lower levels, one should, this thing, it has always worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it all depends on your conviction and understanding of the company and the sector.
Right. So I think one big point that I got from whatever you said is it's easier to hold on to profits, slightly difficult to hold on a stock when you are in losses, right? Or if you basically don't understand, yeah, and it also depends on like how well you understand the business, obviously, and your conviction level. But yeah.
Exactly. I mean, see, it is. I mean, to be honest, most of the times I actually love when the stock I buy goes lower.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very honest admission from me. That a lot of people want the stock because I don't buy everything in one shot. My style of investing is that I keep on buying slowly. I keep on developing conviction, understanding the story more better, and so on. So if my conviction grows and if I'm able to buy at a lower price, I'm actually happy. So I'm happy if the stock goes down, because I can buy more. And that's how I am. It could be completely different for different people. Some people will panic if the stock goes down. Again, we are all wired differently, and I kind of have that temperament, and it has worked for me. So there will be a lot of people who will tell you that always average up, never average down. So for some people, it will always work. If they average up, for me, it has worked both ways. I've averaged up also in my career, in my life. Even now, I'm averaging up in quite a few stocks, and I've averaged down too. As long as you understand business valuations and you're comfortable investing at any point in time, you also have to understand the market cycles. And so sometimes in different market cycle, it could be valued higher, and your entry point could be different. That's why always I said, you just you don't put your whole body in the door. You always put your foot in the door and then keep on understanding and
right.
Keep on adding is what my style is.
Right.
And this, see, again, it being a large part of my portfolio is, you have to understand that for somebody buying a 20% position in it, okay, of their portfolio, it is very different than for somebody whose it was, let's say, 2-3% of my portfolio and has grown to 20%, right? The risks are completely different.
Right.
We have to understand that, because it does affect mentally. If you buy 20% into something and it corrects, let's say 40% from there, it will affect you mentally. Whereas if it has grown from, let's say, 2%, 3% of your portfolio to 20%, and if it corrects from there, 30% or 40%, it will affect you differently. So that you have to understand.